Ну, перевірити, але я його не чую. Хай перевіряє.
Я розумію. Просто не спитав.
And honored that so many of you confirmed their participation to our tonight's conference dedicated to innovation and organized by the French Chamber of Commerce in Ukraine. More than 200 persons have confirmed their participation tonight, showing the great interest to the events we are organizing. We are, due to the current situation, unable to meet in person and are thus broadcasting live from the premises of UNIT.City. Of course, we hope to see you in person very soon, and thus I would like to point out 3 of our upcoming events. On June 1st, we will first host our next conference with His Excellency the Ambassador of France to the Ukraine. On June 24th, we will have our gala dinner around the event La Fête de la Musique. And on the 8th of July, we will have our Women's Business Award ceremony. Tonight, and despite the current crisis, we wanted to shine a positive light on the situation. Of course, all of your businesses had to struggle with the situation, to adapt to the new reality and find new ways to do business. We all had to adapt in the way to work, to live and to relax. And at the French Chamber of Commerce, we wanted to show you what your future might be or would look like. To help us do that tonight, we have some very esteemed guests gathered around Dominique Piotet, the CEO of UNIT.City and President of the French Tech. So, without any further ado, I will pass the floor to Dominique and his guests to present you what the future might hold for you. Thank you very much for attending. See you soon. Best regards.
Привіт, мене зовут Домinique Piotet.
I'm Dominique Puisse.
And I am the CEO of UNIT.City. I will continue in English. And I want to really warmly welcome you to this virtual event. We wish we could do it together in a real physical place, but unfortunately, due to the current lockdown, we are going to do it virtually, which is actually not bad because I hear that more than 300 people are actually watching us right now. So hello and welcome to all of you. We organized this event and I would like to thank them, of course, the French-Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, who is in fact hosting us tonight here at UNIT.City in partnership with French Tech Kyiv. Welcome on board. And let's start our positive journey towards innovation and what's next after this crisis. And actually, if, like me, you are tired of the lockdown, and I think we're tired of the lockdown, you are tired of the bad news, you are tired of COVID, and you want to imagine a better next, then welcome. And also, if, like me, you're passionate about technology, you're passionate about innovation, you believe that innovation and technology is here to help us, not to harm us, but to help us create a better future and a better life for all of us, then welcome, you are in the right place. We are going to talk about crisis. Is it an acceleration, actually, for innovation? And if tomorrow was better? Before I introduce my guests, I would like to show you a short video that actually we did for the birthday of UNIT.City. It's a very positive video. It's a poem, actually, dedicated to innovation and building a positive future. It's a poem that has been written by our copywriter, Victor, in the UNIT.City team. So let's watch it before we start.
We are a unit. We're not just one or two. We're plenty. We are an entity. We are decisive. We're crazy. We are unstoppable. We creators. We are innovators. We're students. We're startups. We're 3D printers. And we are the smartest people in the world. We are wearing virtual helmets. We're creating new jobs. We are creating stations for the electric cars, and we're flying high. We don't know how high we can reach. So we have events, we have fun, we have entertainment, and we break stereotypes, we incubate, accelerate, we grow and grow, and we try to think something up to explain things away. And we play with virtual transformation, robots, drones, codes, and people, and people. This is UNIT. This is us.
Yes. So, well, let's talk about positive things, and to do this, I would like to introduce my panel. Well, first, I would like to start with Vasily Ivanovich Khmelnytsky. Vasily Ivanovich is the founder of UFuture, the holding company of very innovative companies in Ukraine, and he's also the founder of UNIT.City, of course, and the visionary behind UNIT.City. Vasily Ivanovich, welcome. Of course, then I would like to introduce you with Emanuele Volpe. Emanuele is the Director of Innovation of DTEC, the largest energy company in Ukraine by far, and working on building actually the future of this company, thinking of new technology, innovation, new business model, and of course about people, what's next for people in this very large company. And then I would like to introduce you to Alexei Sheldenko. Alexei is one of my personal heroes, even though he's extremely young. He's the CEO of co-founder of a company we love in UNIT.City, Watched. Actually, Watched almost started in UNIT.City in our Nest bootcamp program. It's really cool. He will explain much better because it has to do with artificial intelligence, and I'm really not good in that, and how you can use artificial intelligence to measure how people react to videos. Do they like it? Don't they like it? Do they hate it? And actually, during this pandemic, Alexei and his company were able to raise almost $500,000 right after our program. So, congratulations. You guys are building the future of this country. And I would like to start with you, Vasily Ivanovich. Let's talk about the crisis. What is your vision of this crisis? What crisis, really?
Thank you very much, Dominic. I'm happy to see you offline because I don't believe in productivity online very much. I like dialogue, conversation. This is effective if personnel of the company, leadership of the company sit at home. Well, this homework is not super effective in my experience. I'm happy to see people live. I've lived through 3 crises in my life, and every crisis is to its own. And this crisis is new, is different, is diverse, and now we can see that there are some opportunities, like in any crisis, but we count losses. 50 different companies, 10 areas. It's a big holding, indeed, and we can see that we have this diversified business. That diversity doesn't save us. Juliane, what can you do to make aircrafts fly in this situation? For 2 or 3 years, we have some plans to subsidize, to develop, to fight for the market share, and so forth. But the European companies predict that by 2024 we'll come back to normal, to the pre-crisis, pre-COVID situation as of 2019. On the other hand, we have pharmaceutical business, this state-of-the-art facility, $100 million invested. It is supposed to grow now. Last year, all the pharmaceutics in Ukraine had a loss by 40%. Can you imagine that? We had have a beautiful team, managed to retain 20%. We experienced this loss, and we feel like we are riding the wave, and the taxi drivers can make some money, Zoom can make some money, food delivery can make some money using this situation. But for the rest of the world, it's a pure loss, a pure and sheer loss. We have to fight for every penny. in 2008, I remember I would cut on the cost, and I laid out 50% of my team. It was an expensive one. This time, I'm not letting anybody go. I just cut on the salaries, because after my previous experience, I couldn't headhunt successful enough to get the same team back, or the same quality of team back because team culture, team experience is very important for the future revival, future restoration. This is not the first time. We've been there, done that. Of course, we are trying to be lean. We try new strategies on. We can play with different areas. We make money here, we invest there. Of course, it is not good for any kind of business, any kind of holding. But we are trying to push and pull as much as we can. So for the future, I think it will take another 1 or 1.5 years to complete this crisis. We retrain our team, we introduce new technologies. UNIT.City is one of the ecosystems, one of the beds of innovation. The industrial park is an ecosystem for industry, for industrial production, for manufacturing, because the companies who come to us, they get more services, less expensive services, and they have less expenditures, and they become more competitive. So creation of this ecosystem with the schools, institutes, co-workings, the innovative companies are working with the new approaches and the startups and the investments, this is a modern approach in my book anyway. So such companies in Ukraine should grow in number. Nobody should brain drain from here. We love Poland, we love the US even better, but we want to make money here, have success here, produce, manufacture, sell, and develop this country. We are not afraid of this crisis, but we are careful about it. And we are living through dire times.
Emanuele, would you like to elaborate on this? And do you agree? Do you disagree? And what is your vision on on the crisis? Maybe on the perspective of your industry as well, and react to Vasily Ivanovic's comment.
It's not so easy to react to Vasily, please.
I know. Trust me, I know.
But let me say, I would reformulate the question. Since, when you deal with innovation, I would not talk about crisis, but I would talk about opportunities. When you wake up every morning dealing with innovation, you say that, the easiest day was yesterday. Every day is a challenge. Mm-hmm. And you think about the power business. For more than 100 years, the power business was boring. End of 18th centuries, you had Edison fighting for the direct current, then Westinghouse for the alternate current, then Tesla, and so on and so forth. But at the end, you had only one business model. Somebody was generating power, especially close to the user, maybe factories, maybe cities. Then this power was transferred, and somebody was using it. And that's all. For, a lot of years, the flow was from one side to the others. That's all. Mm-hmm. And basically, somebody should generate, and somebody should buy. That's all. I don't want to say about monopoly, but it was a boring business. Then, in the last decades, let's say more than 10 years ago, we had those kind of breakthrough digital technologies that they disrupted totally, the actual business model. When I'm talking about digital technologies, I'm referring to the famous 6D. When you have digital, you have, disruptive, then you have dematerialize, demonetize, you have democratize, and so on and so forth. What's happened? That basically the generation of power decreases a lot, the cost of generation. And prosumers appeared. At the end, the business model changed, that you had not only one flow, but the other one. So what does it mean? For a company like ours, it's not so easy to find a new business model when you have prosumers that are, how to say, challenging you. So, crisis or not crisis, when you deal with innovation, you need to wake up every time in the morning, think about, which new business model to find. And then when you see crisis, we see not, how to say, something negative, but we see opportunities. We were very lucky that 3 years ago, the first group within the tech, innovation tech, moved here in UNIT.City. And in the tech, we are embracing the open innovation approach. What does it mean, open innovation approach? Basically, this means that you need to be humble. Since every time you deal with innovation, you say, I am innovative. The next step is to build the next Polaroid.
Yes, Kodak, and
so it needs to be humble. And you need to be very lucky to be in an innovative ecosystem. And I have to say, thanks a lot that somebody a few years ago thought about the creation of UNIT.City. Within this UNIT.City...
Thank you, Vasily Ivanovich.
Within this UNIT.City, we found good, interesting innovation and innovative solution, starting from startups and so on and so forth. So when we are talking about crisis, we see opportunities, but we see really opportunities.
Excellent. Crisis is opportunities, and hopefully innovation and technology is supporting this. Actually, next to you, we have Alexei, who is on the other side of the spectrum. I don't think you've been ever in a boring industry. So very the opposite. And actually is trying to disrupt. Truly a disruptor. Maybe a few things. First, can you tell us a little bit about your company, how what you're trying to disrupt? Because I think it's very innovative. I was very impressed. And this crisis has been actually a huge opportunity for you, because we saw people like Netflix exploding because we are bored home. We're watching videos on Netflix. I mean, when you look at the number of subscribers in Netflix, and actually you're here to help Netflix making better videos, better content, better. So this crisis is definitely an opportunity for you. Plus, you raise money. So, the story.
Наша история.
So our story, wonderful process, a young company entering the crisis. So in Ukraine, when you enter any kind of business, it's a crisis in its own right. But if you do it at the time of crisis, you, of course, have a big test, a big challenge.
And crisis is an opportunity because everyone is in equal conditions. All of us need to change to adapt to the new reality. And in our case, we were dealing with recognition of emotions in video. First there were emotions and there were reactions. After that, we started dealing with longer video content. Before crisis, our main idea was to recognize reactions in the cinemas. But after that, the whole industry was closed. And for us, it was another challenge, how we should focus, how we can change on the early stage. And we started focus on OTT platforms like Netflix, Hulu, some else. And they have a huge competence with each other because they are fighting for time of their audience next to the screen. But we can help them to improve content, to improve the conditions for binge watching. And now escapism is growing when people are trying to go from reality, and we are to help them to create the content on the level when the person doesn't even take a decision to leave the platform, to stop watching, and we fix this problem for them. And we give them the understanding of their audience and how to prepare optimum content for them. And for the young company during the crisis, it's much more easy to go to these big companies. And I can tell you that it's true, because openness of large corporation is increasing, and we started communicating large companies. They can see potential, they have no possibilities to react to some point problems, but we had a team of experts who help fixing these problems, and this collaboration, this synergy gives the possibility for young companies to grow and large corporations to be successful with them. And also one of our success stories. Thank you very much, Dominic, for the initiative. Dominic Vasily, thank you for Neste platform, because young companies who were lacking experience, expertise in business, they could shape new understandings, new vision, understand the pains of the client to build their strategy. And this intensive 3-4 months work allows to go into the new level, to attract investments in very crisis time, when investment is looking at the business from the point of view of his own funds, and now it is dozen times more complicated than before, because they prefer to invest into 100% success. Efficiency is very low. For instance, we were checked for so many times, our due diligence was so complicated, but any kind of feedback to the young team, that is the moment of strategy growth, because thanks to this feedback we could develop, and we understand that our partners, the companies who are going to cooperate with them, all of us want success. In our case, crisis is helping each other. These are possibilities and vision into the future.
If you want to ask questions, we take questions. I'm going to receive them on my phone. So ask your question. Please just mention your name and who you are, so we know who is asking the question. Let's move on to this conversation, and let's ask ourselves this question: Is this crisis an acceleration for innovation? Is this something that, in fact, innovation can help us go faster and get out of this? And I would like for you guys to give us a few examples. I mean, my example is UNIT.City. We didn't stop building. We kept building, and I was extremely worried, to be honest, when the crisis started. And I remember actually having a conversation with Vasily saying, "Oh my God, people are going to leave. They're going to work differently." And Vasily Ivanovich was, "No, you'll see." He told me, in every crisis there is an opportunity. I've seen a few, and you will see. People will want to work differently, but they will come. They will stay in UNIT.City, because we're not about buildings. We are about ecosystem. And the value we're bringing them is bigger. And Vasily Ivanovich, you were completely right. So what have you guys worked on that is truly innovative to get out of this crisis? Vasily Ivanovich.
Well, look, I'm sure that crisis will bring some adjustments into the teams working in the office environment. I'm sure a lot of people will keep on working remotely, but I think that the core team will be in the office. I understood it 1 year ago, and I can see it from Apple, from Google, actions that from summer then will be back to offices. Maybe not 100% of staff, but I think it's just a matter of time, because, you know, we are people, we are social animals. We need to see each other, to help each other. And also, we've seen it before crisis. For instance, we constructed Ocean Plaza, luxurious trade center, but it was 6 years ago, and after that we didn't construct anything, because we can see that internet shopping is more convenient for people at the moment. and every year it is 1% grows those people who buy things internet, not in retail. And crisis accelerated these processes. Now it is 4%. In 2020, 4% more started making online shopping. That's why trade centers will be empty, or probably they will be used as the warehouse facilities. We have business school as well. We have IT school. And if our focus before was on offline, now we are changing our course, and now we are selling online courses as well. But we are comparing the people who study offline and talk to each other and people who are studying online. And the difference is 30%. Can you imagine 30%? We are living in the world where we are fighting just for the 1%. So we are supporting online innovations, but I hope that my strategy, ecosystem establishment where people will help each other, communicate, share opinions, will be more efficient. UNIT.City is not just one ecosystem, that is a part of the larger environment. And the city of Kyiv, that's another ecosystem. So there are less and less people living in Kyiv, but it's strange because other people are going abroad, are going suburbs, but people from provinces keep on coming to Kyiv due to the better medicine, better education. The more project ecosystem creates, the more startups do we have in our environments. But if I'm not mistaken, Alexei, you attracted money, right? But you are not attractive company at the moment. We are still in progress. In progress doesn't mean profit, but that's good that you found those investments. And I think our company invested you as well, right? Keep It Digital did. Yeah, that's good. I'm sure you will help to decrease expenses and to attract more customers. That's why we support innovations, and we want to have innovations center here, Dominic. And our task is to involve more venture investments. Because, it's not about money, that's about expertise, and we are lacking expertise at the moment. Besides investments, we want to get knowledge, and knowledge is a key factor.
Or to elaborate on that.
Yeah, let's say that from my point of view, when last year we stayed at home in March, it was not easy. Not easy, especially since we were used to stay in the office, and we are social beings. So, talking with somebody through the monitor. It's totally different approach than talking, as we generally do now. And I have to say, thanks a lot today we have invited. So for me, it's the first, event after, I don't know, it's almost 1 year that we don't have this.
Yes, almost 1 year, yeah.
Some kind of, it's a good approach. Anyhow, recalling about accelerating in crisis, what we have done, that we have continued to support the ecosystem as we were doing before. So DTech is not a fund. We do not give money to startup. There are funds that can provide this kind of part. But DTech, first of all, has a good expertise. And second, we could support growing, we have supported and we are supporting growing the ecosystem in providing ourselves as an industrial partner. So what does it mean? Since 3 years, we have scouted 1,700 startups.
Wow.
Not all in Ukraine, unluckily, since we have found a lot of Ukrainian startups in Europe. Yes. Since here, they're missing the right support. I'm not talking about only money. So since for startups, I understand money are important, but it's most important to have a good product and to have a possible customer that is buying the product. So DTech is acting, that is supporting the ecosystem. First of all, when we match what we need with the proposal, we launch what it is called a pilot project. 2, 3, 6 months. When we together with the startup, we grow, we fine-tune the proposal. And then if the proposal is good, and if there are funds somewhere, we get in touch with funds, or the startups can say to the fund, you know, the tech is interested in my product. So could you provide funding? And at the end, we as a corporate, we could sign a contract with the startup so to introduce the technology in our business. In 3 years, I mean, we have scouted 1,700. We had, at the end, 40 startups. With them, we already launched a pilot project. This is how to say, contribute an acceleration,
Of course.
to raise the local ecosystem.
So, and before I ask you the question, Alexei, I have one question regarding traveling, because one of the things we use all of us to do business is we would go on a plane and we go see client, we would see investor, we would go, and all of a sudden, well, we can't do that anymore. So it's not just only not going to the office, but it's also not traveling, and I'm not mentioning leisure, but just business. And we saw recently a very interesting Ukrainian example, the company Reface, very nice Ukrainian startup, who raised $5 million from Andreessen Horowitz in Silicon Valley without even going to Silicon Valley. Everything went through Zoom. So do you have the feeling that this is going to change, that now we learn to do business in a different way, with not necessarily traveling, but being able to use technology to do this business? What do you think, Vasily Ivanovich, maybe? Because you used to travel all the time, and now you're at the office every day. Which I like, of course.
Yeah, I did, but you know, I like traveling more than sitting in the office. You know, that idea of UNIT.City, how did it appear? For instance, we are going to Silicon Valley together with our team, 25, 30 people. We are going to different companies, look at the new technologies. Next year we are going to Israel, because Israel is a very cool, innovative company. After then to China, and all these cultures are very different. Americans, for instance, are very open. They can show you technology straight away. And, you know, we didn't understand why they're so open. But they said, you know, by the time you will have them, we will be 20 kilometers ahead of you. In Israel, they want investments. In China, they don't need money. They don't show technologies. They just want to sell the product. The approach is different because cultures are different. That's why we're trying to create a product closer to Ukrainian culture. Because, you know, Ukrainians represented all over the world. When we come to Silicon Valley, 5–10% of Ukrainians are working in the coolest companies ever, the same as with Israel. So we wanted to create a system to keep those Ukrainians in Ukraine. Dominic, I'm sorry, I understand that we are discussing technologies, Zoom. But now, for instance, we had a deal with Qatar people on solar energy, very good deal indeed, and we were preparing for 1.5 years. Everything was in Zoom. But you know, before they come for 3 days, we couldn't complete it. We got all their top management, lawyer, legal consultant, top management, and you know it, we could close the deal. Probably without it, we would need 1 or 2 years more in Zoom. It helps a lot when you talk to people directly, when you communicate to them without Zoom. Yeah, Zoom is helpful. I can see it, but I see people sitting at home, and you know there are some 20 people joining this Zoom, and you cannot understand what they're doing there. Everyone is just showing their involvement into the process. That's it. Dominic, I think the technology works. We need to use it, and it's very convenient to communicate by phone in Zoom, but human communication is needed. It is the most efficient way, and I'm all for efficiency, and I'm going to struggle for 1% of efficiency. I will come to the office earlier and leaving later. Thank you.
Raise money. Now you need to go to the market and find your clients. I know you have a few and you have ideas. Most of your clients are probably not in Ukraine. What is your vision on that? How are you going to do that?
На самом деле это
Well, that's a challenge indeed. You know, everyone is communicated to the live communication, and that live communication gave another speed of decision taking. And now we have a kind of globalization, but the rules of the game are changed. But it's good for us as well, because we can distribute, we can allocate the budget in a more efficient way to use travel money and to find the clients living in some other countries. And and time difference is not a problem for us anymore. And also this openness to the companies outside Silicon Valley. And now this index is growing, and it's very interesting because from the point of view of innovations, local innovation parks are a bit different at the moment because it allows to develop the companies locally without going to Silicon Valley for development, for going to another level of working with customers. For instance, now we are in Ukraine, and next year we are going to develop our business in Ukraine. That's one business model. But at the same time, we are trying to overcome markets with other budgets because it's clear, right? How working in Ukraine is different from working in Silicon Valley, moving into Silicon Valley. I'm sure we will have a positive impact thanks to that.
I think definitely the world is changing. And this crisis is showing things that we want to keep from the old world and things we want to change. And I think it's great. And if tomorrow was better, which is going to be my last question before we ask questions to the people who are watching us, what is your vision of tomorrow? And if it's going to be better, why? Maybe I'll start with you, Emanuele.
It's clear that the world tomorrow will be more digital addicted. This is, 100%.
But is it better, or is it worse?
From one side, it's better. From others, you can order a good, spaghetti al pomodoro by glove.
Yes, by drone.
To go to the restaurant. I don't know you.
Actually, wait a little bit. We're working on something cool for you guys, but more soon.
Lesson learned that I have got thanks to the virus and thanks to what has happened, that managers like me should stop controlling employees, but empowering them. Well, what does it mean? Basically, it's clear that we will not return 100% to the office. Some of them, they will continue to stay at home. So maybe it will also change the working relationship. You should not work anymore since 9 o'clock in the morning, till 6 o'clock. But I rely on you. Work, please, on a project basis. Since virus changed this approach, few of them, they will stay anyhow at home. We will not come back 100%. Also, the attitude should change. What we have seen the last year, basically, it seems a countersense, but working at home, we produced more. Of course, I don't want to stay always at home.
No, thank you, I don't either. I can confirm
I would
that.
like to come back. There is some kind of, positive on this. And of course, the future will be more digital. This is clear.
And you think this crisis created like the shift, the big jump? We saw the numbers on e-commerce. We saw deliveries picking up. We saw our consumption of digital tools growing up. And you think we will not come back?
Think about companies like Zoom. I would never think 1 year ago that they could get this kind of capitalization. Of course, there are other companies that did not provide good results. but anyhow, the way is set.
The way is set. Is it your view? What is your view? Is the future going to be better, and is it going to be better thanks to technology?
Я бы не хотел давать оценку, это будет...
I'm not a prophet. I do not want to prophesy. The future is going to be different, that's for sure. And that's inspirational. That's something that inspires. The world has reset the rules of the game itself, and the stress is enormous because of that. And the processes that we can see with artificial intelligence, ethics, the change of consumption culture, consumerism culture. We have to be very careful and very civil about it. Instead of focusing on stress, we should increase our togetherness, our solidarity, social cohesion, and for different strata of the population. So this readiness for change, this jumping on the opportunities presenting themselves, well, they can guarantee or secure a good future. Dominic, it's very difficult to say whether it is going to be worse or better. Something is going to be definitely worse, and some things will be better. Well, people will live longer, be healthier. The level of poverty is going to decrease, definitely. So the average income is going to grow. The climate is deteriorating. I cannot imagine how we can stop that. The population of this planet is growing. People are learning from their experience, from their mistakes. They can make decisions. They can advance, apply innovation. All those people have some brighter future before them. But there's this danger, you see, that this gap between the rich and the poor is growing, whatever we say, and that can lead to some social clashes. So we should not stop. We have to proceed. It doesn't matter how old you are. You still have to move while you still live.
I open the floor to the question that we are starting to receive. How do you see Ukraine in this? What role can Ukraine play in this future? I mean, we are building UNIT.City because not only we believe in the future of this country, but we're building the future of this country. But what is your vision on Ukraine, and are you optimistic? How do you see the future? Maybe I'll start with the startup generation, who's actually building a brand new company.
Да, и помимо этого я еще преподаватель.
Yes, I also teach at the Kyiv Polytechnical School.
Я очень...
And I'm always inspired by the young people, young Ukrainians. They are as focused as you can imagine on growth and development, and they are not prone to any kind of brain drain. I can assure you, when I have meetings, it's by Zoom, unfortunately. The quality of this service and the educational services relying upon Zoom are going down the tubes, of course, but they still inspire you. And you get inspired by their aptitude with technologies, how quick they learn the game. For the startups surrounding us, I know many of them. I have partners among them. And I think the future belongs to us.
I like very much Ukraine. Maybe between Italians and Ukrainians there is already some kind of common, approach.
Yes.
But I like very much. The level of competencies, especially in the young generation, for me is surprising. And something that I feel, pain in is when at the end of the day, maybe somebody's coming to me, maybe some kind of startups is coming to me, and we cannot find some kind of business model to launch, to support. Then we also say that in Ukraine there is a crisis every year. So people in Ukraine are used to be, more strength than, for example, in Italy, where, I mean, we live a very, how to say, easy life. And so the life here is more challenging.
And people are more resilient.
Of course.
Yes, that's how I feel too. Василий Иванович.
Доминик, я свои 54 года.
I'm 54, you know, and I've spent all my life in Ukraine. I love this country, and we do everything possible to make this economy grow, and I'm very optimistic about it. But I'm also pragmatic in my approach to things. Next generation is going to be better. They always say, yes, 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 but why? The best generation is the best education. That's the foundation. I'm rhyming here, but speaking in rhyme, but you see that our education is leaves for much more to be desired. We have colossal opportunities in Ukraine. UNIT.City is not unique. We can have hundreds of such projects, but for a country, I don't see the groundwork, the foundation, the pedestal for this bright future. I'm quite pragmatic about it. Perhaps the future has something in store for us, but I cannot see it yet. But we still can develop. There is some room for it.
There is some room. And I'm opening to some question. We got the first one actually from a good friend of us, Vlad Nozrachev. So Vlad, hello. Thank you for your question. Vlad is a co-founder of the UNIT School of Business and is watching us online. And the question is for you, Alexei. How is your technology could be used in an online school? That's interesting. Careful, kids. Alexei is watching you.
На самом деле мы видим большой потенциал в...
We can see great potential in online education and online medicine for diagnostics of mental disturbances, say. Now we are focused on passive consumption of the content. Well, involvement, engagement, focusing attention, retaining attention. We are into research, you know, and we're having those surveys in the MRT, the sensors and other instruments that can measure the tension and the load, the cognitive load, and how different people perceive information, because we have different approaches, different kind of facility or faculty, and in online we can test different deliveries of information and the retention of attention and involvement, engagement to correct and to recommend something better for the future. Everything is possible.
For intelligence when it's for the good. And actually we would like to continue on education. Because I mean, for us in UNIT.City, education is absolutely key in everything we do. It's one of the strongest pillar of UNIT.City. And how do you see this crisis, the impact of this crisis on education? Because we see kids staying at home. My son is staying at home. We see our kids staying at home, working, and it's so. Do you think it's a lost generation or lost few years for those kids, or have they learned something and is technology has been helpful for them? Well, Emanuele, what do you think?
No, this is about this question. I'm recalling something that I read on LinkedIn. Think about that. If you need to go into surgery in a few years, maybe you will be operated by somebody that was learning everything online.
No, thank you.
No, it's clear that I mean, this approach cannot be. So, and it is also clear that kids not only had to stay at school, but not only to learn, but to socialize.
Yeah.
We don't want to create the next generation that is able to communicate only by WhatsApp or Teams. And then, by the way, it's funny or not funny, in our unit, we have hired youngest people, I mean, Gen Z and so on and so forth. Why? Since they will be the future customers. And so I don't want to say we can analyze, but we need to understand what they need. It's funny, like, for example, we are talking. When we meet, generally we talk each other.
Yes.
I mean, one of those Gen Z colleagues, once I was in the office, I received a message in Teams, and I see it was sent by a colleague that was 2 meters from me. I mean, for me, it is easiest and faster to talk to you. The generation is using a different approach. I'm not saying that is good or bad, but this is, is changing the overall, how to say, approach. Good or bad, I don't know, but we need to be prepared for this.
Vasily Ivanovich, what is your take on that?
Доминик, смотри, не столько сейчас...
Look, it's not just that important to discuss how we learn, how we study, offline or online. Online will cease to exist at some point, will stop. But what we learn, what we get to know, 55% of entrepreneurs in every jurisdiction, we have 1 to 1.5, 2 at best. We had good science, natural science. We have good IT people. They outsource. They do not create products. Nobody teaches business management at our schools, and teachers of economics. So the teacher of geography teaches my children economics. So you can imagine geoeconomics and what will come out of this and how they will shape the mind of the future. I cannot see any breakthrough. On the internet, yes, of course, we can use messengers and so forth, multitask as much as we like, but it's a different, the subject matter, the essence of education, that's for the future to tell.
But I don't think we have. And actually it's time. One last, hopefully positive word. Is tomorrow going to be better? Alexei.
For sure.
Emanuele.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Vasily Ivanovich, is tomorrow going to be better?
Для кого?
For whom? For us? Or for somebody else? Well, we are approaching the age of diseases and aging, but we can share the experience, the things we learned, because studying, learning, it's not just sitting in a classroom. We learn as we go. It's a lifetime exercise, they are telling us. So because in the times of crisis, we have to accumulate our knowledge. We are more effective. We are crisis managers. After this crisis, we will leave it to the more peaceful associates. People are complaining. People have negative attitudes. For them, it can be difficult for the future because they just complain.
Unfortunately, our time is out. But we will answer on the comment when we publish on YouTube. Guys, thank you so much. I think it was hopefully positive, hopefully inspiring. Hopefully you got some insight of our vision of what we hope would be a better world, not completely digitalized, but where people still matter. And we're meeting each other and having social interaction is still something important. Thank you very much. Thank you, the French-Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce, for organizing that. Thank you, all the team of the French-American Chamber, the French-Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce. I did it. I told them. I promised that I will not do it. But as you know, I come from California, and I was a member, active member of the French-American Chamber of Commerce. No, the French-Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce. You guys are even better. chamber. So thank you, Maud Joseph, and who is the director of the chambers. Thank you, Bertrand, Barrier, and all the board. I would like, of course, to thank the amazing tech team of UNIT.City. Guys, we love you. And of course, I would like to thank you guys for being such an amazing, diverse, and interesting panel from startup to corporation to the future. Guys, thank you, and see you.